All right, let's talk about buying a condo. For so many of us, it's the ultimate dream, right? A cool lifestyle without all the headaches of owning a traditional house. But what are you really getting into?
I mean, just picture it. That amazing view from your balcony. A gym and a pool, just an elevator ride away. And, get this, never having to shovel snow or mow a lawn again. You see those granite countertops, that perfect downtown spot, and you're thinking, yep, this is it. I'm home.
Okay, but hold on. Let's hit the brakes for a second. Because that perfect-looking unit, it's just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. And that dream can turn into a real nightmare if you're not careful. Because the biggest risks, well, they aren't things you can see. See, here's the thing you have to wrap your head around. When you buy a condo, you're not just buying a piece of property. You're actually becoming a shareholder in a small business. You're investing your financial future with every single one of your neighbors. And you know what? That changes everything. And that whole business partnership thing, it leads us right to the first and maybe the most common mistake people make, totally underestimating that giant stack of paperwork. It is a classic pitfall. There's this huge myth out there that, oh, it's fine, my realtor will take care of it. They'll read through everything for me. I mean, it makes sense, right? They're the pro. But wow, that assumption can turn into a very expensive mistake. So let's get super clear about who does what. Your realtor's job is to make sure you get all the condo documents. That's it. It is not their job to read them and give you advice. In fact, legally, they can't tell you if the building is financially healthy or if there are legal issues. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The Alberta Real Estate Association puts it right out there. Only a lawyer or a specialized condo document reviewer is actually qualified to dig in and see if the bank account is healthy or if the rules are going to drive you crazy. So what's the pro move? It's actually really simple. First, you set aside a few $100 for a professional to review everything for you. Second, and this is the big one, it's non-negotiable, you make your offer conditional on that review. Think of it this way, it's the best, cheapest insurance policy you will ever buy. And that document review is so important because it helps you spot our second major risk, the financial iceberg. This is where the health of the building itself can really sink you. And fast. You've probably budgeted for your mortgage and your monthly condo fees, no problem. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. What can be lurking just under the surface is a huge surprise cost that the seller might not even know is coming. It's called a special assessment. So what is that? Well, it's basically a one-time cash call. The condo board hits up all the owners for money when the building's savings account, the reserve fund, can't cover a big repair like a new roof or replacing all the windows. And we are not talking about a few $100s here. A special assessment can easily hit $20,000 per unit or even more. Can you imagine getting a surprise bill for $20,000 right after you move in? Trust me, it happens. Now, the good news is, these things don't usually appear out of thin air. The warning signs are almost always there, hiding in plain sight. You just have to know where to look. And that's in things like the reserve fund study, the minutes from the big annual meetings, and the budgets. And this right here is exactly why that professional review is worth its weight in gold. A good reviewer will dig right into that reserve fund study, compare it to the list of upcoming projects, and they'll wave a big red flag if a huge bill is looming on the horizon. Okay. So we've covered the paperwork and the money. But what about, your actual life in the building? That brings us to mistake number 3, completely ignoring the rules you're going to have to live by, and of course, the people who make them. When you own a house, you make the rules. In a condo, the bylaws are king, and wow, can they be specific. We're talking rules that say no air conditioning units on your balcony, no hardwood floors, or that you need the board's permission for the curtains you choose. They also deal with stuff like cannabis smoke, or sometimes the lack of rules around it. And here's a really modern one. What if you have an electric car, or you're planning on getting one? Most older condo buildings are just not ready for EVs. Installing chargers is super expensive and really complicated, so a lot of boards just don't. You can't just assume you'll be able to charge your car. And behind all these rules, you've got the rulers, the condo board. These are your neighbors who volunteer to run this whole operation. Reading through the minutes of their meetings is like reading the building's diary. You can see pretty quickly if they're proactive and planning ahead, or if they're just running around putting out fires all the time. So this solution here is really a 3-parter.
One, you've got to read every single line of those bylaws. If there's a deal breaker in there, you need to know now. Two, read those meeting minutes to get a feel for the board's vibe. And three, never, ever, ever skip a professional inspection of the unit itself. Even a brand new looking place can hide some really expensive secrets. Okay, I know that was a lot of watch out for this and don't do that. So let's pull all of this together into a simple playbook, something you can actually use to make sure you buy like an absolute pro.
This table here pretty much sums it all up. The paperwork pitfall? Hire a pro reviewer. Worried about the rules? Read the bylaws yourself. Trying to avoid those surprise bills? Get that reserve fund analyzed. And to get the inside scoop on the board, you read the minutes. It's a clear roadmap for dodging all the biggest mistakes.
But really, the biggest thing to take away from all this is a shift in your mindset. Condo corporations are slow ships to turn. You can't buy into a place hoping you can change the rules or the culture down the road. The real key is to find a building that you are happy with, exactly as it is on the day you get the keys.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you walk into some gorgeous condo unit, just pause and ask yourself this one powerful question. Am I just buying a piece of property, or am I applying to join a business? Thinking like an investor and not just like a homebuyer is what's going to protect you from all those hidden red flags and help you make a truly smart move.